there's this thing and someone's flying. I now have a reputation on Booktube as a person who is very judgmental and like hates all the books. But you also have to understand, some people take the word food porn literally. 5 out of 5 spoops. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm Rachel, this is Let Me in the Library, and today we're going to talk about my April TBR, but we're going to do something a little bit different. Usually, I do a TBR game with some dice. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing it. However, I'm going to take a break this month. You may have noticed that a March TBR did not come out on time. I have repurposed it. Let's just say that. I have a lot of catching up to do. I will talk about readathons that are going on this month, buddy reads I'm trying to do this month. I have no idea if this will totally go to shit and I will just do something completely different this month, but I don't want to get to the point where reading is stressful, so I just want to catch up because I feel like every time I think about these books, I'm like, how have I not read this yet? That's what we're going to do right now. Let's talk about it. There is a readathon called Linguathon that's going on, and I'm excited for that. Noelle is one of the hosts, and I found it through her channel, and it is basically a month-long readathon that is just about language books, which could mean a lot of things, like books that are about language, such as the one I'm picking here, Fluent Forever. I've owned this forever, and it is sort of just like, how do you learn languages? What's a cool way to learn languages that it actually sticks in your brain, which is huge for me. I love languages a lot, and I just have not had a lot of time to dedicate to learning them anymore, but at a time I used to know like 4 languages roughly. I don't know anything anymore, I forgot. But I would love to be fluent forever. That would be really fun. This is one of those like book crushes that I have where I'm just excited about it, but I never really like open it. So I'm going to go on a book date with this guy this month. It's gonna be great. Oh, but the other stuff that's for the Linguathon, it has a couple of different prompts there. So one of them is that one about language. Another one is a book that's in verse. And for that, I am picking up Punching the Air, which I got as a hold through an audiobook. I think that'll be great. The group book is Babel 17, which is so exciting because it's another one of those books that I knew about for so long, but I never really like picked up myself. I think it's about a woman who's trying to solve a mystery about this like mysterious language or something like that, or a mysterious culture via language. Not really 100% sure about that one, but very, very excited about that. There's also a Chills and Thrills-a-thon that is going on later this month. I'm going to really try to participate. I think it will ultimately depend on where I am in my TBR. So there is one for a deserted, isolated setting, and for that I'm going to try to read No Exit. I feel like everybody's been talking about No Exit by Taylor Adams recently and how much they love it. 5 out of 5 spoops. So I'm interested to get some spoops. I really have been like craving a thriller. There is somebody who is driving on a long trip in the winter time, and they end up getting stopped at a like truck stop or something, and there are all these people there, but they find out that one of those people is holding a child in a cage in the back of their car. I think it takes place over the course of 24 hours, which is very exciting. Hopefully it will be very chilling and very thrilling. There are also 2 prompts. One is for Backstabber, which is a relationship gone wrong, and the other one is Guilty, for a favorite thriller subgenre, like your guilty pleasure. And I have to say, I am so excited if I get to this readathon because I really, really want to reread one of my favorite books, which is Behind Closed Doors. I love this book so much, and I always recommend it to people who are looking for thrillers. It is about this couple who seem to have the perfect life. The guy is this attorney that fights for battered women in domestic abuse relationships, but as it turns out, he is actually like super horrible, which is like very immediately revealed to you. And actually our main character is the wife, who has to kind of put on the happy face of being so great and whatever, because anytime that she goes against her husband, then he will just be very emotionally abusive to her and like try to stop her from seeing her friends. And it's very difficult for her to even like call out for help or anything like that because he now controls every aspect of her life. I love this book. I think it is so, so good, and it totally keeps you on the edge of your seat, even though you know like who the bad guy is from the beginning. There are also 2 read-alongs that are going on in this month that I want to try to participate in. One of them is the Cruel Prince read-along that is just starting. I have never read the Cruel Prince. I feel like I became interested in it because when I read Kingdom of Back, then there was a character in there that was compared to somebody that's in The Cruel Prince. There's also a Raven Boys read-along that is like low-key going on because Katie from Katie Can't Read is hosting that because she loves the Raven Boy cycle, the Raven cycle, and I think that she wants to like read all of the books this coming month. I feel like that's not going to happen for me, but I do support my friends and I would like to read the first book if it means that much to her. Speaking of birds though, there is another book that I really am excited to read, and that's The Swallows by Lutz. This is the WHINERS book club pick for this month, and it's going to be on my channel, which is exciting because the WHINERS has so far been cursed in 2021. Every book that we have read, I have been like awful or about this. New teacher at this New England school starts a gender war kind of by having this very provocative assignment for her students. And I think there's also like a hierarchy of the different students. It's sort of mixed media in a way. There are like different charts and maps and stuff in the middle of the book, which I really enjoy. And I am really excited to discuss it with the rest of the WHINERS. And speaking of book clubs, there's another book club, which is the Host Club. And we're going to be reading 3 volumes of Food Wars and volumes 1 and 2 of Alice in the Country of Hearts, because I think the first volume just sort of introduces the characters and the second volume really gets into the story. Alice in the Country of Hearts, I think, is just sort of like an Alice in Wonderland retelling. I know that's very popular in manga very often. And Food Wars is basically like a cooking show. Like if you like Iron Chef, you will love Food Wars, but you also have to understand some people take the word food porn literally, and one of those people is the author of this series. I am also reading Siege and Storm this coming month because I read the first book in the Grishaverse last month and I actually really enjoyed it, and then I found the second book as an audiobook, so I thought that it would be nice to just continue the series while it's still pretty fresh in my mind before the Netflix show comes out. I also have Reverie by Ryan LaSala. So I recently started following Ryan LaSala and I didn't even realize that he was the author of books because I just found him on TikTok being really funny about Sailor Moon and I'm in love. So I'm excited to actually read one of his books. I'm so excited about this. I also have a hold coming in for the Blaze Wrath games, which is kind of like a big dragon race. Everybody gets to go bring their dragon and fight the other dragons or something. I also am hoping that my hold will come in soon for Eve Brown. Act Your Age Eve Brown is the third book in the Brown Sisters romance series, which I have loved so far. I really enjoyed Chloe Brown and I adored Danny Brown, so I am hoping that Eve Brown is everything that everyone has talked about because they say it's the best one. I am also hoping, we will see, that I can read Akosuf, which is A Court of Silver Flames, the last book in, well, last book so far in the ACOTAR series. It is so long. I thought it was a novella and it's not. It's like 700 pages as well, which is why I didn't get to it in March, but I did grab the audiobook, which is nice, and it's like 24 hours or something like that. I don't know, it's very long. I feel like I relate to Nesta, and a lot of people hate Nesta, but I think she's enjoyable. In the first book, everyone was like, wow, Nesta is the worst because she wouldn't get up at like dawn to go cut wood. And I was like, would you? I wouldn't. You think I'm gonna do that? No. I don't care if you go out hunting and you get a wolf. I'm not cutting wood and I'm going to ruin my perfect nails. No, I'm not going to do that. No. Would you? Are you serious? You would do that in the winter? No. I would also love to pick back up The Promised Neverland because I recently tried watching season 2 and something stupid happened in the middle of season 2 that just made me quit the entire thing. But the manga is good. They just skipped like entire story arcs in the anime, which is stupid. But I also have volume 4 that is coming from the library very soon. The Promised Neverland is about these kids. By the time you reach probably like age 12 or something, a lot of kids end up getting adopted by that age, but the main cast of characters eventually find out that there's a lot more going on in this group home setting. I won't say anything else because I think that you find out exactly what happens at the end of chapter 1, and it's way better if I do not spoil it for you, but I'll say it's a fantastic series of what I've read so far. I used to be really caught up on the manga and I'm not anymore, so I'm kind of starting from the beginning, and now I'm on volumes 4 and 5, so that's my plan for this month. I need to read Attack on Titan volume 5. I would also really love to read more volumes of Monster. That's a manga that I started recently because Nitty was telling me about it.
So what if I'm the monster?
I'm semi, I stay automatic. Money add then multiply, I call it mathematics.
There is a main doctor character, and he is kind of like this very genius surgeon, and he has been like working his way up at this hospital, and you know, like the directors of the hospital seem very corrupt, and I think there is like this string of murders. I don't know how much I will be able to read this month, but I'm really excited to continue with it. I am also going to be buddy reading The Mothers with Casey from Casey Can Read. Okay, next up is Where Dreams Descend, because I had started reading this. It is a magical competition for magicians, and our main character is a very, very talented born magician, but she is sort of stuck in this home where she is not able to really do anything except for perform for this very tiny group of people, and she eventually realizes that this whole situation is not what she thought it was, and she could escape and go to this competition and try to kind of make a name for herself and become known for being the kind of magical, fantastic magician that she is. So she's excited to travel there, but women are usually not magicians, they're usually the assistants. So she's a very unusual contestant, and a lot of times people are like, you shouldn't be here, we don't like you, you are a woman. And we also have another character who is one of the judges, and I think he may be the love interest. We might see. But this is also a very like Phantom of the Opera inspired kind of story. Oh my god, did you see that? The sparkles? Oh shit, that's so cool. Okay, I also am reading The Poppy War, and I am buddy reading this with Christine from the Roomies Digest. I loved this book the first time I read it. It reads like an anime because it's just so fast paced and it throws you in there, and it has a lot of those tropes that I love where there is like a school setting and the main character, they came from kind of nothing and then they are now going to enter this military academy and hopefully make something of themselves, but everybody else is like an elitist. I love that trope so much. There's just something about seeing like the underdog rise up and kind of take on all these challenges. But beyond that, I also think Rin is such an interesting character as our main character because she is not just your typical very sympathetic kind of character, but she really has her own angers and fears and motivations than a simple self-insert main character, and I'm really, really happy that we get that. So I'm so excited to go back to this and finally figure out who Kate is, because I don't remember him at all. The End. This is the last book in a series of unfortunate events. I have been enjoying it so much, but I am still pretty early in the book, and I usually like to kind of stretch this out over the course of a couple days so I can really digest the content in the book. We're probably going to do a series of unfortunate events read along at some point. I mean, you know what I'm about. I also need to get back to the buddy read that Noelle and I were going to do. I just sent Noelle out to go read Sleeping Giants, but we want to read The Power by Naomi Alderman, which is a book that I have adored for a very long time, but I am a little bit afraid now revisiting it that it might not hold up, because this was a big favorite of mine back in 2018 when I read it for the first time, and I had really just begun starting to read again for pleasure. This is a story about women who suddenly one day are able to control this power of electricity kind of, and they can like shock people. So eventually all of the women around the world have this ability that make them very powerful and scary to men. So men are now afraid to like walk home alone at night, because what if there's a woman there? There are these little excerpts between chapters that don't make any sense until the end, and you're like, oh shit, that's what that was. And that is the best feeling for me. I am also trying to actually read Scythe. There are so many physical books here on this TBR that I'm like, I don't know what I'm thinking, but I also have a book called The Seep. I found this on a live show because I was talking about how much I liked Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, and then I was recommended this book. Trina Fast Horse Goldberg Onika is a 50-year-old trans woman whose life is irreversibly altered in the wake of a gentle but nonetheless world-changing invasion by an alien entity called The Seep. Through The Seep, everything is connected. Capitalism falls, hierarchies and barriers are broken down. If something can be imagined, it is possible. Trina and her wife Deba live blissfully under the Seep's utopian influence until Deba begins to imagine what it might be like to be reborn as a baby, which will give her the chance at an even better life. Using Seep tech to make this dream a reality, Deba moves on to a new existence, leaving Trina devastated. Trina follows a lost boy she encounters, embarking on an unexpected quest. In her attempt to save him from the Seep, she will confront not only one of its most avid devotees, but the terrifying void that Deba has left behind. That sounds so good! Are you kidding me? And I am also trying to read Beyond the Black Door. This is about a girl and her mom, and I think they go through these doors, and usually they pass from like different dimensions or something through these doors, but one day the mom is like, see that black door? Don't you dare ever go through it. And the girl's like, what if I did though? What then? And I think that on the other side of this door, she is alone in this kind of magical world, I assume, and she also discovers her asexuality, which is really great. So excited about that. Echo Wife is a book I'm trying to read immediately. The wife is like a clone or something like that. I also have a book called Bone Chase. I know almost nothing about this, but it is also a thriller. And I think it was compared to Da Vinci Code, which is literally all I need to hear. And I just, like, my finger moved by itself and it just took the book out. Dancing at the Pity Party. And this is about a girl who lost her mother and the kind of grief and everything that comes with that. It's also really amazing because graphic memoirs are like, they really get to me, but the fact that this is also in like a very cartoony style really appeals to me. Okay, now I have two books that I had mentioned on my March TBR, which again, you didn't see, but those are The Office of Historical Corrections and Ring Shout. The clan is posed as like a demon organization that's literally full of demons and they will take over the world. So the main characters are just trying to exorcise demons. I mean, so far, I don't know if this is fantasy. Kind of seems pretty realistic. And Office of Historical Corrections is the other one. And this one is a bunch of short stories that involve history and the way that people react to it. In one story, a white college student tries to reinvent herself after a photo featuring her in a Confederate flag bikini goes viral. In another story, a daughter takes her mother on a tour of a prison that tore her family apart decades earlier. And in the eye-opening title novella, a Black scholar from Washington, D.C. is drawn into a complex historical mystery that spans generations and puts her job, her love life, and her oldest friendship at risk. I'm really interested in this. And I need to remember that for myself later when I just don't pick these books up. Remember, Rachel, you're excited to read this, okay? Don't forget. I know so little about this. I think it's usually better for me when I don't know what books are about, but there's this thing and someone's flying. I don't know. Noelle is like my graphic novel queen. I just go to her if I have questions about graphic novels because she always has the most interesting things that she's reading at the time that she'll recommend. So this was one of those things that she recommended. I'm excited to get to it. Again, don't know what it's about, but guess we'll see. Okay, I also have Day Tripper, which I have as a recommendation from Noelle. Actually, I think it may be her favorite book ever. And it's also a graphic novel that is sort of about life and the meaning of life. I know Noelle is very scared for me to read this because it's kind of like handing someone your favorite book and letting them judge it, and being that I now have a reputation on Booktube as a person who is very judgmental and like hates all the books. I understand the fear. However, I'm going in with an open mind, also knowing almost nothing about this book at all. And I'm really hoping that I will love it and enjoy it and it'll be a great time. I trust Noelle, so we'll see. Okay, I am also reading Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. I have this left over from March. I am really enjoying it so far. This is a story about a girl named Mary who is now 15, and when she was 9, she was accused of killing a 3-month-old infant that she was babysitting along with her mother. And it is unclear if she really committed this crime because they always say that she is the baby killer, allegedly. So I think you understand why this book is called what it is. I really trust Tiffany D. Jackson to write a fantastic story. This is her debut novel and I am so far really loving it. And I think that she does such a fantastic job of totally warping my idea of what a YA thriller could be by just going above and beyond. Every book of hers that I've read so far I've given 5 stars, without a doubt. Really fantastic author. I love everything that she writes, and I think this will be the same case in this one. We have an obvious choice for something I have to get to this month, and that is thrills-a-thon war. It's time. It's time. I am just going to show you these, and I honestly don't even think I'm going to get to them, but I have these that I just got from the library. So I have Every Hearted Doorway, a big, fan favorite on Booktube, and I think this, like, all these kids that have gone through fantastical adventures, like falling down the rabbit hole and going to these different fantasy worlds and now coming back to the real world. What do you do with them? Because now their entire world is so different than a regular kid. So I think they all go to the special academy. I was watching Books and Lala's video about Enneagrams, and she was talking about this. I found it from my library and I thought I would flip through it and hopefully find out more stuff because I've been recently interested in what my Enneagram is. And then I also have this because people have been recently talking about Ken Liu's The Paper Menagerie. I heard it's very like Black Mirror-y. That's what Tammy was saying on Twitter, and I know that she really loves Ken Liu's stories. So I don't feel like I'm going to get to this because it's big, but I have hopes. They're not high, but I have hopes. I also have an arc for Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I should be so thrilled and so honored to have this because The Martian is also one of my absolute favorite books. So I want to read Project Hail Mary before it comes out. I think it's coming out in May, so kind of feels like this is the time that I should really be reading it. I am sorry to not have brought you the TBR game this month. Unfortunately, it's just not a great time for me to do that right now, but I am happy that finally I'll have a little bit of weight off my shoulders if I actually get to read some of these that have been kind of in my backlog for a while. I just want to say, I feel like my subscribers have climbed a lot recently, and I just want to say thank you very much. I honestly am a little bit shaken. I didn't think that I would reach like 850 subscribers at this point of like opening my channel back in May. We are almost like at my 1-year Booktube anniversary, I guess you would say. If you do subscribe and you hit that bell, then you'll always know when I upload a video, which, you know, twice a month. Can you imagine getting notified twice a month and that's it? What a, wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow. Good job.
Thank you very much for watching this video and for hanging out with me for a little while. Let me know if you know about any of these books and you're like, oh my god, these are so good, you gotta read this. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your input. And if you have anything that's on your TBR this month and you're like, oh my god, this is so exciting, I'm so excited to read it, let me know what it is. Maybe I'll put it on a future TBR myself. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Rachel, this is Let Me in the Library, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Wow. 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 Oh man, I feel like wow. It's like I come over, it's like I don't know what to expect. I gotta be honest. I come in, it's like a little like I'm trying to get my bearings. There's cartoons, your mom, and it's like you still got it. Wow. Good job!